President Bola Tinubu meets 6 state governors, pledges to strengthen security nationwide.
Niger State government receives 100 abducted school children of Papiri Agwara local government area.
Federal government launches 3 billion naira equity grant for students on STEM to commercialize innovation.
Every idea will become a startup, but it is a sincere hope.
And good morning, Nigeria. Today we shall focus on First National Council on Livestock and its takeaway.
The First National Council on Livestock highlighted some of the burning issues affecting the livestock sector, which have been neglected for decades, with the theme of the conference, Livestock Rebirth, Accelerating Renewed Hope.
Now, stakeholders, including farmers, investors, policymakers, technology developers, and parliamentarians, converge in Yola to make decisions and articulate policy direction for the modernization of the sector, which is deeply rooted in crisis.
Now, the Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mokhtar Meha, disclosed that the ministry was aggressively scaling up the country's capacity for animal health.
The minister also added that there's an ongoing effort at National Veterinary Research Institute, VOM, Plateau State, to expand livestock vaccine production capacity from 120 million to 850 million doses per annum.
And to modernize the livestock sector, Nigeria needs to make significant investment alongside the whole livestock value chain. Now, from production of feed and food to processing, transportation, marketing, and consumption.
Now, the period of open grazing, according to experts, is unsustainable and a cause of going thrive, noting the country has a clear plan to rehabilitate the 417 grazing reserves into modern, secure, economically viable, renewed hope livestock village.
Well, if you listen to the minister, he further reiterates that open grazing was not viable, but suggested gradual change in which old grazing reserves were fixed to allow herders move into them. Absolutely.
The National Council on Livestock is a federal body charged to modernize the livestock sector, boost its value to $74 billion US. Now, it's on this premise I welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria. Today, I am Jumwa Yusuf.
It's indeed a pleasure to have you join us for this edition. Countdown to the end of the year, by the way, Jumwa. How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel good, actually.
How time flies. I remember when it was January
1st, and now it's December rolling out. I just hope that 2026 will be kinder to us.
Exactly. That's the prayer. Each year should get better. I'm Henry John. It's a pleasure once again to have you join us on this very interesting edition of the program, Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you live from the network service of the NTA. We're right here at our headquarters in Abuja, and as you know, you can't beat the rich. Don't dare. Anyways, in the course of the program, we'll bring a newspaper review, and that's when Chukwudi Okoli-Ogbaja joins us. But for now, we have the very energetic and ever-smiling Ibrahim.
Ever-smiling. Let's see that smile.
Ready for the morning news. Ibrahim, looking hot this morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing real good, Yenre and Jumwe. Good morning, Nigerians. Here's the news. President Bola Tinubu on Monday met with 6 state governors from across the country. The governors are Monday Okweolo of Edo, Umar Namadi of Jigawa, Nasir Idris of Kebbi, Ahmed Ododo of Kogi, Lucky Aiyedatiwa of Ondo State, and Ahmed Aliyu of Sokoto. The meeting lasted about 40 minutes behind closed doors. Though details of the meeting was not disclosed, it came as the president continues consultations on how to strengthen security across states of the federation. Niger State government has received 100 students kidnapped from St. Mary Catholic School, Papiri in Agwara local government area, rescued by the federal government. The children's release is coming 17 days after the incident that left their families, well-meaning individuals and the government distraught. While the release comes as a relief for some parents, for those whose children are still in captivity, it is a feeling of uncertainty. Vice President Kashim Shettima was among African leaders that witnessed the inauguration of President Alassane Ouattara as the re-elected leader of Côte d'Ivoire for the fourth term in office. The Vice President also met with World Bank Director of Operations Anna Bierde in Abidjan. Nigeria has been widely commended for its swift and courageous response to the ECOWAS call to defend and protect the legitimate government of the Republic of Benin. Following credible intelligence of an imminent coup attempt, ECOWAS invoked the relevant provisions of its protocols and directed the immediate deployment of its standby force to deter and prevent any unconstitutional change of government in Benin. The federal government has earmarked 3 billion naira as equity grants for eligible students of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medical sciences to commercialize their innovations. Minister of Education Dr. Tunji Alausa announced this at the launch of the initiative tagged Student Venture Capital Grant (SVCG) program.
Idea will become a startup, but it is a sincere hope some will evolve into patent and licensable technologies with potential for significant local and global impact.
And those are the news highlights. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Yenre and Jume after these messages.
Mommy, I got the school fees. You're too much.
Nah, money point. Oh.
Money points, thank you.
No worry, yourself go make am. Mo go buy ball.
Victor, they use money point?
Of course now, they use money points.
Confirm.
Money Point, made for your progress.
The world needs moms. With a splash of Golden Terra oil, a mom can transform a frown into a smile. Change no thanks into yes please. Resolve family feuds without blowing a whistle. Providing tasty family meals is all that matters. Where there are moms, there is love. Golden Terra oil, pure love.
Alright everyone, no pull your ears, make we talk. Shots my teeth fresh now, but you know, I beg no be slow. Ever heard of Colgate, the #1 oral care brand in the world? For zero cavities and long-lasting fresh breath. Mom, it's your time to brush. Mama and Papa buy up, use up and shine your smile. No more cover mouth. Because with Colgate, that will do your job with your smile.
Imagine lovely meals you can cook with these ingredients. You spend heavily, but no guarantee of a tasty meal. Not making a right choice of seasoning cube can ruin your meal, money, and confidence. For a tasty meal, do not compromise. Choose Gold.
Use Terra Gold for the rich, consistent taste your loved ones crave for. Good for soups, stews, and jollof. Terra Gold. 1 cube, endless possibilities.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on malaria gone.
And the National Productivity Order of Merit Award goes to the only tomato paste manufacturer to win the National Productivity Order of Merit Award by the Federal Government of Nigeria, endorsed by the Association of Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria. This is an evidence of 100% natural goodness. Eat healthy to live longer. Buy now and enjoy up to 20% discount. Tomato paste, the taste of Nigeria.
bag of rice no get the new Big Bull holographic seal?
Not true.
Introducing the Big Bull Holographic Seal Tape, your favorite authentic Big Bull rice, 50 kg and 25 kg. Now with holographic seal tape. This is to ensure you get the premium product from Big Bull Rice. Do not buy if the holographic seal tape is not on the bag or is broken. Big Bull Rice. Tasty rice nourished you.
Power Oil Light. Light enough for movement. Real enough for taste. Power Oil. My choice for my family. They always come back for seconds. I know why. Power Oil. My choice for my family.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
Evie, you look worried. What's going on?
My big cousin in the university might have to drop out of school. He can't afford his school fees.
Oh no, that's not fair. Wait!
What is it, Tomiwa?
I remember my dad talking about something called Nail Fund. He said it could help university students pay their school fees.
Nail Fund? What is that?
Hey, Captain Excellence! Do you also know about Nail Fund?
Absolutely, Tomiwa. Now Fund is a federal government initiative that aims to provide financial assistance to students pursuing higher education. Now Fund not only gives money for school fees, but even school allowances, called stipends. It's the government's way of keeping their promise that no child will be left behind.
Really? You mean this Tinubu government?
Yes, now. You see, Now Fund is a government loan that helps you pay for school, and you only start paying it back later, little by little.
Ha! It's a loan. Doesn't that mean my big cousin will be swimming in debt?
Not exactly. First, this loan comes with no interest. You only start paying back when you get a job. Even then, it will be just a tiny bit at a time.
My dad says it's just like what they do in other countries like America.
Wow! This is a great idea.
See? With a Now Fund, everyone can go to school, even if you don't have money. Look at those smiles.
Wow! That's amazing! I am going to tell my big cousin right now.
Remember, Now Fund is here to help every young Nigerian get the education they deserve. No child should be left behind.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. It's now time for newspaper review.
All right, Chukudi Okoli Ogbaja is right here with us. Good morning, Chukudi. Good to see you.
Morning, my dear. Well, I feel like this bar is not going right too.
Change
How are you
it.
doing?
I hope it has not expired. Like,
or you bought a fake.
How are you doing?
Very well.
Juma, how are you too?
Good morning.
Great lady.
It's a bright, beautiful day.
It is a bright, beautiful day.
But
and it's all coming from him.
Yeah.
If we begin to work on our deservedness, we won't get a little thing that is good. He's just merciful.
He's just merciful. Let's quickly go to the papers. I'll begin with the Daily Asset newspaper. Daily Asset newspaper. Above the masthead, Jais Bank ILM sign agreement as Africa's first primary dealer. Details you find on page 2. Below the masthead, governors fighting grip on mining as insecurity deepens nationwide. With riders, Nasarawa launches clearing operations, pushes license suspension, and Bielsa ban black sand extraction, voids unauthorized community MOUs. Find the details on page 2. At the side piece of the picture story, herdsmen on rampage, attack my people, Benue local government boss cries out. And FG establishes 119 learning centers for Almajiri education, 119 learning centers for Almajiri education, details on page 17. And CBN reduces number of licensed BDCs to 82 on the revised guidelines, details on page 2. And in Tanzania, they're urging citizens to stay home ahead of expected protest. You find details on page 6. In sports, FIFA rules shifts Nigeria versus Egypt friendly to December 16. Details on page 30. And just below the picture story, FG ICPC launch sweeping audit of 36 trillion naira road contracts with riders, 760 projects under scrutiny across 36 states and the FCT. Probe targets inflation, abandonment, and contract failures. At the bottom plate, FG hands over 100 rescued Catholic school pupils in Tobago. Details on page 4. And the picture story you see there, Tortiv and Chairman Benue Traditional Council, His Royal Majesty Professor James Ayase, Bishop of Makodi Diocese Wilfred Anegbe, and United States Congressman Riley Moore, and Bishop of Katsina Ala Diocese Isaac Digu during a visit to Benue State on Sunday. Fact-finding mission by the U.S. Congress. Let's quickly go to the Daily Trust newspaper. Below the Daily Trust newspaper, below the masthead of the Daily Trust newspaper, genocide. U.S. lawmakers visit Benue. Details on page 39. And troops kill bandits, rescue victims in Sokoto. Details on page 37. 17 agencies score 0 in efficiency rating. That's a report. You want to know from where, you go to page 6. And the headlines in the Daily Trust newspaper, 7 women protesters killed in Adamawa. You find the details on page 5. EFCC seals Silver's residence. Details on page 46. And court declines Nnamdi Kanu's request for prison transfer. Find the details on page 46. Our ordeal in the bush. Rescued Niger students tell Nigerians. You find all the details on page 10. Yeri?
All right, let's look at the blueprint quickly now. The blueprint leads with full implementation of Nigeria-US dialogue will crush terrorism. And the riders hails for the government on release of 100 abducted school children. Northern governors earmarked 228 billion naira to tackle security challenges. And the Attorney General of Federation, Fagbemi, pledges speedy trial of kidnap and terrorism cases. All right, away from that, above the masthead, this is interesting. It says, shortage of family planning contraceptive can trigger unsafe abortions. That's on page 17. All right, away from that, let's look beside the picture story. By the way, the picture story is about the FCT judges with Wike and a group photograph here. And Wike pledges more houses for FCT judges. All of that on page 18. Below that, FD tackles revenue leakages, bans cash payments to MDAs, orders installation of POS terminals. All right, and beside that picture story, we have UN launches $33 billion humanitarian aid, urges global solidarity. And looking below the front page of the blueprint now, we have Nigeria's external reserves cross $45 billion, highest in 6 years. That's on page 20 if you want details. And of course, Nnamdi Kanu is back in the headlines. This one here says court rejects transfer of Kanu from Sokoto prison. I'm sure that all the papers would have that. You want to find out what's going on. Next to that, women farmers decry unequal access to farmland. That's on page 20. And finally, Tinubu to Nigerians, don't weaponize misinformation. be ambassadors of truth? Chukwudi.
Yeah, I'm still writing, but I can do two things at the same time. God is great. Women decry unequal access to farmland. You know, I still feel I owe the newsroom something. And when I do make a comeback in my own way, I'm going to report more on women and children whom I consider as denied in this country. Why would a woman not have access to farmland? Some women are feeding their families now.
True.
That woman selling akara balls by the roadside is sponsoring somebody in the university. Since the husband lost his job with one construction company somewhere. At the end of the day, what I'm talking about is equal treatment for all the genders. Unfortunately, what you hear some women say about women or about themselves does not even encourage you. I was discussing with a lady in my vehicle, just in my car, about a week and a half ago, and we talked about the Supreme Court judgment that now says a woman is entitled to inheritance of her father's, estate, her parents' estate.
Well, in some parts of Nigeria, we've always inherited from our parents.
No, somebody, a Muslim actually explained to me the circumstance of inheritance for a lady and all that. He also told me where the lady might not be entitled. He schooled me concerning that. But the point I'm making is that this woman was actually actively telling me that it is sacrilege for a woman to still expect to inherit property of her father when she has gone to her husband's place. So sometimes you don't know how to go about the cases of women in Africa. A lady in the UK or US is not likely to say this. But you see, when I come here and say Africa has many issues.
I think the question you should have asked her is, when a woman moves to her husband's house, is she also entitled to inheritance in that place?
Oh, I was not so inclined to such
even in
argument
Europe and America,
when she was actively self-liquidating.
It was in the late 1800s that women even started to inherit.
Of course, yes.
Because whatever you bring to your husband's house belongs to him. But 1,400 years ago, Muslim women were granted.
Look, we have very interesting TV TV titles, program titles we're not handling. We should. This is one of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm happy that this has been mentioned. Give farmland to some women. They are actually the breadwinners in their homes now. It's a good thing that...
Well, is that a good thing? Is that a good thing, that they are breadwinners? What does that say about the men?
You are starting an entirely different line of argument.
No, I'm just asking.
Which
it's
might
not
need
the
5
right
hours
thing. Women are supposed to be nurturers. Women are supposed to stay at home, take care of the family.
What does that say about the men?
More confusion.
That's why we have our value system, dropping, because women are not there anymore. They are out looking for money to take care of the home.
We are saying that equal treatment should be given to them so that they can
But it doesn't mean that the men should be laid back,
self-fulfill.
But it doesn't mean the men should be laid back.
Do I look laid back?
And I just want you to...
Because the way you are going to attack me next to.
No, women...
What do you now?
Women we shouldn't be asking.
No.
Given.
No. The thing is this. I answered...
That is how the system
works. I answered
works.
my friend Festus.
Yes.
Yesterday on Facebook. It's a good thing. I told him, you say you don't want a woman who is going to be a liability to you. A real man looks for women to look after, women and children to look after.
True.
Thank you.
You're a happy beast of burden because nature has made it so.
Yes.
Look at a woman's body. Please, I'm not trying to look at your bodies. Look at a woman. Is she built to carry blocks at a building site?
No.
Ask yourself, look at her profile.
But she's built to carry a human being because she's a vessel.
African men have to sit down and think. My bushman don't reach down. I worship women. I look after
when you talk like that, they think you're a feminist. There's nothing like
does
being
it bother me?
Anyways, let's look at other
Your
stories.
life is the way you want to live it.
Let's look at 7
please
women
talk to this woman rapper.
Yes.
I'm ready to hear more.
7 women protesters killed in Adamawa. I think they're looking at security, between the Bachama and Chobo communities of the local government. They are protesting delayed response by the military to calm tensions around
so
there.
Why
something happened along the way, and they opened fire. And
why would
4 died on the spot, while 3 others died in the hospital. It was further learned that 11 others who are injured are currently receiving treatment.
Were they hurling stones on the security people or firing on them?
But they came out peacefully carrying leaves, begging for security. Instead, they were made.
That needs to be investigated.
I think it will be.
That must be investigated. It's very important. The U.S. lawmakers who are in Benue, well, I keep on saying that dialogue handles everything. The way Nigeria immediately responded to Trump's weird and out of place, we are going to come, guns are blazing. You know, I really applaud it. We have pulled them into, come and see things for yourself. Let them understand Nigeria more. We are not saying that any life can just be thrown. I am for protecting the atheist, the Muslim, the Christian, whatever people believe in. Protect their humanness. Forget their tribe or religion. Because that is part of the problem in this country.
In Africa.
In Africa. When I come here and talk about Africa.
Briefly, before we go, we have like 30 seconds. Court declines Nnamdi Kanu's request for prison transfer.
Is it his right to ask for prison transfer? When you establish whether it is his right or not his right, then you can answer that question. He's free to ask, but if the courts are not bound to grant it, then you're going to see that they follow their normal.
All right. There's a story
procedures.
I think that this should be followed closely. Shortage of family planning contraceptive can trigger unsafe abortions. Not just unsafe abortions, it can trigger so many things in the society. You know, I just think that, you know, the Ministry of Health and agencies who should look at the supplies of contraceptives, you know, should actually do the needful. And it's important that parents, you know, school their children early enough, you know, talking about sex education and all, because I mean, in the past, we're seeing girls drop out of school, we're seeing women get into very difficult health conditions as a result of abortions and all of that.
It is now that there's a little more openness. Otherwise, what you just talked about would be told, you will be told it's taboo in Africa. What you want to teach your picking concerning sex education now? Now, so, Maria, I don't spoil this picking reach there. Africa needs to be more and more informed. And the problem is that even educated Africans get still sucked into this vortex of traditional beliefs and all that.
The mouth where God give you, go feed them.
I wonder. I think we've said enough.
Yes, Mr. Chukwudi.
We've said enough. Many thanks, Chukwudi. It's time to go. But this Aku picture, I should take it. It says, AGF Fagbemi pledges speedy trial of kidnap terrorism cases. And the question is, in regular courts, is that possible?
Okay.
I think it's time for us to go.
Yes, time for us to go. Okay, Mr. Chukwudi.
I go short, I don't see good sense.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chukwudi, for coming this morning. Go and enjoy the rest of the cold outside. Take coffee, please. And that's it on the newspaper segment. We'll be right back.
Nevertheless, we must come to terms with existential reputational threats to our national brand, in which external purveyors of untruths are mischaracterizing our nation as a destination for a so-called persecution of people based on their religious faith. This is a propaganda externally woven by those who want to break or weaken our unity. For the upteenth time, I'm emphatic that there is no iota of truth in the communication that is out there, that there is a deliberate, calculated effort where one particular religion is targeted for extermination. I therefore urge us to use the instruments of public relations crafted in truths and facts to vehemently reject this single despicable narrative about Nigeria. It is incumbent on all of us to unite in a voice that will ensure that Nigeria is indeed a country that is anchored on the freedom for everyone to practice his or her religion. In any case, that is what our Constitution stipulates.
Good tasty food
is worth living for. Worried about your oil every time you enjoy your favorite meal? Introducing Smart Balance. Smart Balance Rice Bran Oil is rich in Gamma Original. Golden Terra Smart Balance Oil reduces bad cholesterol. TerraQ or Rap Joy. Unleash taste.
Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja. The city is moving. New voices, heavy drip, all heart. From the streets to the stage, this is the next Afrobeat star. And the talents from all over showed up to own the room. But they're not alone.
Spiritual. Gospel.
All chasing a slot to face the judges. Puffy T, SARS, Andre Vibes, P Pride. Catch next Afrobeat star on.
Guys, food is ready.
Cook to impress.
All right, many thanks for staying with us. It's still Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. And just before we introduce our guests who are already with us, let's quickly take this background report put together by Oyemi Ajayi.
The launch of the National Council on Livestock Development in Yola, Adamawa State, by the federal government was to oversee the implementation of policies aimed at modernizing the livestock sector, promoting sustainable practices, and addressing the persistent farmers-herders conflict that have caused widespread loss of lives and property, destruction and displacement. The council is composed of directors of livestock from all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. It is believed that open grazing is unsustainable, hence the need for a nationwide shift towards ranching systems to improve productivity and reduce conflicts, aside the fact that the transition could generate up to $74 billion in sector revenue over the next 5 years from a $32 billion. The government intends to pursue a structured gradual transition to modern ranching in collaboration with states, leveraging 273 existing gazetted grazing reserves covering over 4.5 million hectares as viable alternatives for pastoralists. This strategy is designed to enhance productivity, reduce conflicts, and ensure a sustainable livestock ecosystem without causing abrupt destruction. It encompasses increased productivity per head and increases the population of the livestock. The Minister of Livestock Development, however, said that Nigeria was already in discussion with several companies that want to invest in key subsectors such as dairy, beef, further, small ruminants, animal breeding, poultry, piggery and animal identification amongst others. The Council's approach aims to provide modern infrastructure, pasture development, primary health care clinics, primary schools, solar-powered boreholes for residential and animal watering, veterinary services and safe settlements, all of which need significant resources. Experts believe that to expedite genetic transformation and improve the productivity of cattle, small ruminants, pigs and poultry, there is the need to collaborate with the federal government and give priority to the establishment of breeding centers and artificial insemination services. Now, what are some of the takeaways from the National Council of Livestock Development? Our guests, already seated in the studio, will elaborate more on that shortly.
Thank you so much, Oyeyemi Ajayi, for that background report. And seated here in our studio for the conversation on the first National Council on Livestock and its takeaway is the Minister, Honorable Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Maiha, Mukhtar Maiha. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. And also joining us via Zoom from our joining us from our Maiduguri studio is the Deputy Governor of Borno State, Umar Usman Kadafur. He's the Chairman, Livestock Development Committee. You're welcome to Good Morning, Nigeria. It's good.
Thank you, Jume. Good morning. And good morning, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Welcome and good morning to Nigeria.
Yes. Sweetie.
All right. Many thanks once again, Honorable Minister, for joining us. Of course, we'll get to the Deputy Governor much later. We'd like to hear from you clearly what the resolutions were, you know, broader. I mean, I know our reporter already gave us a hint of some of the resolutions reached at that meeting, but let us know what the National Council on Livestock Development, the very first, which was organized by your ministry, actually achieved.
Thank you very much. Since the establishment of the ministry about a year ago, we've had our eyes fixed on trying to cascade the vision of Mr. President down to the states. We're happy to say that at the time the ministry was created at the federal level, there were only 3 states in the country with similar ministries dedicated to the livestock. At the moment, we have almost 17 states. And Mr. President's strategic vision has resonated across the country. Suddenly, the state government's private sector is waking up to the reality, the value in livestock that has been neglected over the years. So, creating those ministries alone to have laser focus on livestock means a lot. And that's not to say that these animals have just been discovered. We have all along lived with these animals. They have been part of our livelihoods. They have been the source of our animal-based protein. They have provided employment. They have provided so many things for this country over the years. Only this time around that we are saying, look, the level of productivity, the system of animal husbandry, and all whatnot regarding the animals have not been realized to be of any value until now. So with the creation of those ministries at the federal level, at the state levels, and we felt that we needed to get together. The National Council is a statutory body that comprises the commissioners in the ministries, the permanent secretaries, directors of veterinary services, and the directors of animal husbandry, etc., etc. So we felt we needed to come together, not for any policy decisions, but to be on the same page, to discuss particular issues that pertain to the sector, and make sure that everybody is on board. Number one, we have crafted the National Livestock Growth Acceleration Strategy that has been approved by the National Economic Council. And that is a very huge success for us. And that, just like the rider said, that strategy has a baseline value of $32 billion for the livestock sector in Nigeria. We have a vision and a strategy to grow that sector to $74 billion in the next 10 years. And that cannot happen alone with at the federal level. We need to bring on board where the resources are, resources in terms of land, in terms of animal resources. The federal government doesn't have 1 inch of land. But our role here is to coalesce all this goodwill and bring people together to share in that vision, to share in that strategy. And that's what has happened. We've discussed that vision. We asked ourselves a lot of questions, and the state governments today, through that meeting, have expressed their buy-in into that strategy because it encompasses every livestock, every species across the country. No particular species can take ownership. We are talking about cattle. They won't say that it's ours, or piggery, or honey, or rabbitry, or goat, or sheep, or camel. No. We are talking about all farmable animals, and every species, most of the species are found all over the country. And therefore, that strategy has been accepted. And we are continuing to develop a strategy where each layer, federal, state, and local, remember, agriculture is on the concurrent list. Both federal, state, and local government can partake in that. But we are saying that we need to harmonize our approaches. Let me give an example. We are talking about today, at the center of livestock challenges we have is the absence of feed and fodder. And that's why you have people migrating all over the place looking for where you have abundant water, abundant pasture, even if it's in the wild. Now, for us to approach this, we are selling the idea of, look, we are saying that in 2025, open grazing is no longer sustainable for a number of reasons. We don't have to go into that. But if you want me to, look at population growth, look at urbanization, look at the request for land for infrastructure development, schools, universities, express roads, airports, all over. So the way you graze your animals 60, 70 years ago, you cannot graze these animals in 2025. It's no longer practicable. We have the incidences of climate change, the disappearance of biodiversity. Rivers that were flowing, that were never seasonal before, today are seasonal. If they were seasonal then, they are already dead. There's only one dead sea today in the world, but we're having dying rivers in Nigeria because of climate change, because of certain impact on the environment. So what we are saying is that we must agree that, look, we must transit from open grazing into, even if it's a limited, sedentarized animal husbandry. And how do we do that? We do a lot of stakeholder engagement to educate people on how to do this, and we assist them in doing that. We've also agreed that we have debilitating zoonosis. These are diseases that affect animals' productivity, and invariably also they can be transferred to human beings. That's why they're called zoonosis. So we need to be on the same page to be able to come up with national strategies on eradicating and controlling and eradicating those diseases. We cannot do it at this level. We have to synergize with the state governments and the local government and the private sector to do that.
Okay. This is the first council, you've had, National Council on Livestock that you've had. You've talked about strategy and how to expand the livestock industry. So what specific policies emerged from this first National Council on Livestock that can be implemented in 2026, because 2025 is already gone?
Now, the national councils, normally you have the Council of Commissioners with the Minister, of course, the chairman, and the permanent secretary, the secretary, and you also have technical sessions. Now, we were able to inaugurate those sessions at those committees at that first National Council meeting. We did not go with any policy document for approval because that was our first meeting. So we needed to bond, we needed to share in those strategies, we needed to inaugurate those committees. We understand who and who across within the livestock ecosystem is supposed to belong to what committee and what are the remits, the mandate of those committees. So that has been done. We have created that platform. Now going forward, for us that strategy is very important. Now out of that strategy, now commissioners, ministries at the local government, at the federal level, Veterinary Council, National Institute of Animal Science, Institute of NAPRI in Zaria, NVRI, anybody can now come up with a policy for the future. For this one, have been to establish those committees to bond, to network, understand the vision, and agree to share in that vision so that we don't have, disjointed applications here and there. we are all going to synergize and have a common focus on the strategy that has been approved by the National Economic Council. That is what we have achieved.
So how is it
there.
taken from the subnationals? You know, are all the states and the FCT on board with you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
From every state in this country, including the FCT, there were representatives. And the energy level was high. The commitment, the zeal to work was there. And that, for me, is half of the solution. But people have agreed. They have shared in that vision, in that strategy. They know exactly these are the challenges we are facing in the livestock sector, and they have agreed to work with us. They have agreed to work with each other. So let me give you an example. In the last few months when we had rabies vaccinations, we launched it here in Abuja. We identified about 7 frontline states where we have highest incidences of dog bites and rabies. Then we communicated with those states. We wrote the governors, told them our strategy, asked for collaboration and assistance. And lo and behold, by the time our staff from the federal went there, they were more than ready to receive us. And we did exercise seamlessly. Because for the first time, people were taking them into confidence. We were not just landing there like an eagle to say, this is what we have come to do. No. You own the environment. You know the local environment. This is what we want to do. We come with the vaccines. We come with the, we share with you. This is the challenge. How do we address it? And in less than 3 weeks, the 7 states were covered.
And you were able to tame
it's a vaccination. It's a vaccination. All dogs and cats, companion animals, have to be vaccinated against rabies. For me, that is a test case. That if you take people into confidence, you consult them and work with them, you achieve results.
Okay, many
and
thanks.
For us, that is the way to go. And remember, we have a lot of diseases. Today we are planning under the AU and the FAO to eradicate PPR. PPR is the one that affects small ruminants, sheep and goats. And many people in the rural areas today are losing their stock because of PPR attack. So once we synergize with the state governments, with those ministries, it will become an easy one for us. Fantastic.
Many thanks, Honorable Minister. Of course, we'll get back to you. Let's speak with the Deputy Governor of Borno State now. Your Excellency, it's a pleasure to have you with us, I must mention. But I would like you to speak to us about the Ruga model of ranching. Your state, Borno State, has adopted that model. Speak to us about the success story so far.
I'm happy the Honorable Minister is with us here this morning. The most important thing about the Ruga is we have common problem in Nigeria in terms of farmers and herders clashes. So the most important thing is the establishment of that settlement itself in Borno State is a credit. While also the most important thing I want to emphasize on the creation of this Ruga is, the resettlement of the displaced communities in our state. Mostly they are pastoralists, and, we're agrarian state, Borno State. And like in Mafa local government area, the Ruga was established because we want to bring together all the displaced communities. We have 18 displaced communities in that local government area. So we brought them together, and also a housing estate was, built in conjunction with the federal government and the state government. So all these, the families of the livestock owners now who are residing in the Ruga settlement have, benefited from the housing estate that was, allocated to them. That is a major achievement also. And if you look at it, the whole Ruga settlement will have 27 different infrastructure that is provided for the families of the inhabitants in that Ruga settlement. We have a veterinary clinic. We have a clinic that is meant to cater and provide outreaches for the families of the people living in that Ruga settlement. We have also a market that was dedicated for the families of people that are staying in that Ruga. And our partners, especially the FAO, have, trained women and children on the milk production and preservation system, because we have a collection system center in the Ruga. We also have a feed mill in that settlement. So a lot is being provided, and we bring together all those who are displaced, the communities that are displaced, because most of them are livestock rearers. So, and I'm happy there's development, because after the provision of the houses, cows were provided to the families or the households. We have 461 households in the Ruga settlement. All of them were provided with cows, goats, and also this is a starter pack for them with some amount of money. And the minister was there at the commissioning of the Ruga, which I think he can attest to. So this is a very, very, very important achievement, because one, the resettled communities have now where to call home. And secondly, too, we created this Ruga at a dedicated grazing reserve area. And also, beside that creation of the Ruga, the El-Press have partnered with the state government on providing over 250 hectares pasture farm, which will provide enough pastures for the families of those who are settled in the Ruga. And one good thing with the pasture farm is we have irrigated, after the rain pasture farm, we have the irrigated farm, which is powered by solar. And it will cater for the families during the dry season. So I think this is a very, very important achievement. And also, if you look at it, the whole model is designed in the northern part of the state, central part of the state, and the southern part of the state, which we have one in Yimurgo, southern Borno, we have one in Mafa, and one in the Gubio local government area in the northern part of the state. So this is a great achievement, and I believe the minister also can attest to that, because when he was in Maiduguri 2 times, and he has been very supportive. The federal government have also supported the Ruga program in provision of the houses and some other facilities in the area. So we're working hand in hand with the Federal Ministry of Livestock.
Yeah, you talk about reduction of insecurity. Did this establishment of Ruga, reduce insecurity in your state in any way?
There are a lot of provisions that are made in place before establishing the Ruga. Even if you go to the settlement itself, we have a police station situated in the Ruga itself. Then we also provided joint patrolling team who are also daily patrolling the environment of the Ruga from the local government. The military is involved, the civilian JTF and the hunters are also providing security service. And since the establishment of Ruga up to now, we didn't have any incident related to insecurity in the area. But also, in as much as we are working, we are building resilience. But for example, now in Gubio local government, we are yet to settle the families in the Ruga dedicated area, because we feel the place is not yet secure. So once the military has given us the clearance, we will launch the second Ruga in the northern part of the state. So these are challenges, but inshallah, I know we'll overcome it.
I'm sure you will overcome it, and we're still talking about security here now. We know that is a route. Mafa Gombodongala is a route for livestock coming all the way from Central Africa, to pass through Nigeria and to other countries. So is Mafa going to be a stop for these cattle coming in from outside the country?
The Ruga settlement is not a marketplace. The most important thing is the Ministry of Livestock in Maiduguri is trying to see how best we can put up a lot of facilities. In terms of migration or those who are bringing in livestock from other parts of the world to Borno State, they pass through. We have dedicated markets. For example, in the Maiduguri, we have the Kasuan Shanu. In the area, we have Miringa market. So we have dedicated markets that these people brought in their livestock for sale, and it's being monitored. We have committee who, are saddled with the responsibility of vetting, those who are bringing in these livestock. So we put checks on that, and that's another thing of a concern, because a lot of people thought you can just go and steal or poach livestock from any other place and bring it and sell. No, it's not like that. we have committees, since from the entering point at the border towns, who are saddled with the responsibility of screening and, you know, tracing owners or ownership of their livestock in terms of you know, conflict. So once, even if we have unidentified, you know, cows, there are Mieti Alas and the Cattle Association, Sellers Association, who work hand in hand to identify the real owners and trace the real owners so that we settle this type of, you know, conflicts.
Thanks, Your Excellency. We'll return to you shortly. Let's get back to the studio where the Honorable Minister is seated. You know, you've spoken about what the ministry is doing, your partnership with the state governments, but I want to know what the ministry is doing to bring the private sector into all of this. When you spoke earlier, you talked about the challenges of feed, food, and all of that. In terms of feed production, I mean, there's a lot that the private sector can do in that regard. If you want to talk about dairy, you want to talk about so many other chains in the livestock industry. Are you looking in that direction, just so that, because I mean, like we say, a lot of people get to say government can't really do so much. So what incentives are on ground, and what is the ministry doing to ensure that we have more private sector investment in this industry?
Thank you. If you ask me, at the moment, the entire livestock population we have in the country are in the private hands. The government doesn't have cows, apart from probably one or two that are dedicated for research. In the universities, in research institutes, the bulk of the animal resources we have in this country are in private hands. So we're not going to take them away from the private people. We are going to work with them to enhance their business, the productivity of the animals, market access, etc., etc. But to be specific, if you look at today the dairy industry, the dairy sector, for instance, of the livestock sector, you find out that there are many operators today. Apart from those who import powdered milk, which is private, there are those who are seriously focused and engaged in local dairy production. We are working with them. We know who they are, we know where they are, we know their capacity, and we've had conversations with them. They have told us the challenges they are facing. We are discussing with them. And gradually we are overcoming those challenges. And part of the challenges, for instance, are challenges of one, access to finance, which of course we cannot say, look, go to this bank, we cannot recommend you. We can discuss and say, this is what is happening. Remember, the BOA has just been capitalized, and they are there to advance soft loans for those who want to go into livestock value chains. And a number of them are really expanding their businesses. One thing we're looking at is that if you want to come to any area to set up your business or expand, we will work with you, we'll talk to the state government to make land available, put site and services for you. By you being there, you are generating employment, food security, fighting poverty, as well as also IGR for the state where you are resident. I mean, it cannot be better. That's what everybody is looking for. Government is about social impact, positive social impact, and that's what the companies are all about. If you look at the red meat industry, and probably people just eat meat anyhow, and we are working with the red meat sector. We are talking about revamping the red meat industry, making it compliant with public health requirements. If you go to our abattoirs today, there are health issues in terms of how the animals are processed, how meat is being handled, how it is being transported, how it is being stored. There are huge challenges there. So we are working with the red meat industry. We have inventorized all the abattoirs in the country today, the modern abattoirs, all the cranes, you know, the mechanical contraptions and everything. What is left now is for us to come armed with an SOP, standard operational procedures, for these abattoirs, so that we have a biosecurity around them. Meat is processed to meet international standards. They are going to be certified. That's what we are looking at.
Besides regulating abattoirs, what's the ministry doing to regulate imported animal products? Because you just mentioned it, that a lot of stuff have been imported. Who is regulating that, just to ensure that the products that are brought into the country are as safe as they should be.
Like which products are those?
You talked about the powdered milk, for example.
The powdered milk is important because at the moment we are not in a position to slow down that process. We are aware of what is happening and we are working assiduously to provide import substitution in our country. Once we are there, we now begin to curtail, we begin to restrict what has to come in. Two things will happen. Number one, we must give specification of the kind of powdered milk you bring to the country. Number two, the quantum, just to meet the gap. That is what is happening. Let me give you an example. There is a farm today in this country, a dairy farm with close to 400 animals. Each one is making about 40 liters per day. And they are going to expand. I've been part of that farm since inception. I know when they imported the animals. And we are assisting them to upscale their capacity. And so many of such things are happening. By the time we have this number of farms in the country, and we know the volume they are making, then that means that they are going to make a dent into the import volume. Then we begin to raise the tariff to make sure that we protect our local industries. That is the way to go. That is the way to go. But we are not there yet. We know the challenges. We don't want to starve this country of milk. Yes, the importation is there. But we are not in a position to say, look, you stop importation. It's a gradual process. This duality will have to remain until such a time we are satisfied that, look, there is enough local capacity to say, look, the $1.5 billion we are spending now, we can only spend, say, $1 billion. The 0.5 is now plowed back to develop the local capacity. That's what we are aiming at. And we are creating the necessary environment. One, we are going to assist those breeders, including the pastoralists, with superior genetic materials to leapfrog the yield of their cows from 2 liters to 15 liters to 20 liters ultimately. And that is achievable. I did it on my farm. It's practicable, it can be done. That's what we are looking at. And look at the critical mass. For instance, if we are able to settle the pastoralists in grazing reserves, just like in Borno State, the Mafa where we've been to, they have an artificial insemination center there. All the local animals, the indigenous animals they have been given are going to be crossed over. When they are crossed into improved breed, then the milk production will naturally also get higher. That's what we are looking at. So until you do that one, it's a gradual process. Remember, the gestation of the cow is 9 months. And that new calf will now be bred under those conditions at the age of 2 years. And the indigenous cattle get bred at the age of 3 years, some of them at the age of 4 years. So you can see you are managing a calf for 4 years without giving birth. So that growth rate is also what we are going to cut down to make sure that at minimum 24 months, that calf is ready for breeding. Plus 9 months, it can now give you a calf and you start milking the cow. So look at the contrast. This is what we are aiming at. And when you are talking about, again, improved health and disease management, that means that, again, that animal will be healthy and free from disease and other traumatic experiences. When they stop trekking, the countries are looking for feed. That also means that they are going to conserve energy to convert it either to milk or to body growth. So these are all the arithmetic we are looking at. So it's a gradual process. If you understand the ecosystem, that is the way to go. Many countries today are self-sufficient in meat and dairy. That is the route they took. We are not going to reinvent the wheel. You are not going to collapse 9 months of gestation into 6 months. It's not going to happen biologically. The science are not able to do that. So this is what we are looking at. But we do believe that if you provide sufficient feed and fodder, if you provide adequate health management, vaccinations, and every other thing, then you can, with improved genetic materials, you are surely going to get there.
But is the ministry looking at other chains? I mean, so far you've spoken about meat, dairy, and all of that. We understand that, the bones of these animals can be, processed into other valuable products, either for animals or for humans. And then when you talk about the skin of animals, I mean, all of this, are also big industries that, can stem out of the livestock industry. Are you looking in that direction?
We have our eyes on all those. But let's begin from the beginning. How do you aggregate skins if animals are slaughtered all over the place? How do you aggregate the blood if animals are slaughtered all over the place? So that's why you need that abattoir is central. If you have an abattoir, it's a controlled environment. every animal that will be slaughtered in Abuja will have to go to an abattoir environment. Assume that 3,000 animals are slaughtered every day to serve Abuja market. Then that means that you have 3,000 animal skins. That is enough to sustain a leatherwork industry that can employ so many people. And those products themselves can go to artisanal leatherworks, blue wet, white wet, and then the crust that is for export. Let me give you an example. If you have 3,000 animals, cows slaughtered in Abuja, each cow, depending on size and age and body build, will give you 25 liters of blood. 25 liters of blood per cow times 3,000 animals. All that blood will go to a blood bank. That blood is a raw material for fish meal and other products for fish and poultry. Now, if you dehydrate that blood, completely dehydrated, it becomes 80% protein. By my investigation, 1 kilogram of dehydrated blood in EU market is $12. $12. 1 kg of dehydrated blood, which is 80% protein. So the bones will be crushed into calcium. The marrow will go to pharmaceuticals. The bile will be exported. The horns, the hoofs are all sorts of calcium. The buttons that we use, the buttons that we use on our shirts come from there. The combs, so many other things will come from there. So what we are saying now, let's organize the abattoir. These things will naturally be added. That is why we're emphasizing, oh look, let's stop indiscriminate slaughter all over the place. Let's have it a controlled environment. Then you can now aggregate all those other byproducts of the animal. The solid waste will go into powering that abattoir into a form of biodigester. Then the sludge will now be removed after you squeeze out the methane and then take it to farm its organic fertilizer. So nothing goes to waste. The only thing in the livestock sector that we cannot market is more, you cannot market it. Kukuruku, the chuckling of the hen, you cannot market it. But everything in the hen, the feathers, the claws, everything you think about. The sheep, the goat, the pig, everything has value. And that is what today was driving the livestock sector in advanced countries. We have seen this, we can repeat it here, and we are on that trajectory. We are not scared, we can do it. Because one, we have the political support of Mr. President. And here we are committed to do it. For us, it's not about money. We don't throw money at problems. We come with bag full of commitment. We understand the sector, we know where we are going, we have mapped out our road, and we'll get there.
Fantastic.
Indeed, you've mapped up your road and you get there, because since you became minister, you've been on the road practically, every week across Nigeria. Let's bring in the Deputy Governor of Borno State. And the first livestock council meeting that took place had a lot of plans, like the minister said, and strategies. So what aspect of the national livestock plan will Borno State be adopting now immediately?
We have agreed on the pushing of the legislation for livestock industry unanimously. The whole state, 36 states, will key into that and push for legislative backing in their states. So I think this plus to the industry, because we must have some plans to push for the livestock development sector. And what we did what the outcome of that meeting in Yola will make a positive impact on in terms of legislations and policies towards livestock development in the country. So as a state, we've started pushing for that in Borno State, and inshallah, very soon we'll have legislation in place, as much as other states also in the country who also join in to have legislation in terms of livestock production and development in Nigeria.
Resettled people in areas like Mafa and all that. So what kind of support are you going to give smallholder, livestock farmers, so that they can benefit from these new reforms of the livestock ministry?
therefore, if you look at it, when the Ministry of Livestock Development was established in Borno State, I was started with the responsibility of starting the affairs of that ministry in the state. We sat down and looked at, there are a lot of, on top opportunities in the livestock sector. So we have to do it in phases. Number one is we have to make improvement on the already existing, facilities in the state. And also, like now, we have the 3,000 liters nitrogen plant for artificial insemination, and also the embryo transfer in the state, which is one of the best that we will unveil, inshallah, very soon. The most important thing is you have to improve the breed, as mentioned by the minister. And after, improving the breeds, farmers should have, access to, veterinary services, and they should be trained on how to, boost livestock productivity in the subnationals. So we're working through, as he mentioned earlier, government doesn't have a lot of cows. It's the private sector. So whatever we have to do now is we have to work with the private sectors. We have to campaign. We have to make provisions for them so that they can have access to improve, livestock development in the state. So we are working towards that. This nitrogen, 3,000 liter capacity nitrogen plant that we are having is an artificial insemination center situated in the College of Agriculture in the state. One, it will serve as a training center. Secondly, also, we have already bring in breeds from outside Nigeria that will be collecting their semen and make improvements and make it available for our livestock farmers in the state, which I believe this will go a long way in the production of livestock, not only in the state but also in the whole of Nigeria. Because this lab that I'm talking about, we've spent over 1 billion naira to bring in equipment, and I believe by the time we invite the minister to come and unveil this lab, inshallah, we'll be producing semen locally here in Nigeria.
All right, many thanks, Your Excellency, for that, input and what the Borno State government is doing to improve the livestock sector in your state. We have some comments or questions that have come in from our viewers. Just to let our viewers know that there's a number on the screen. Feel free to send us comments, questions, or suggestions. Of course, we'll read them, and I'm sure that the minister or the deputy governor would implement, or if you like, make some corrections to whatever observations that you have made. Just take a few that we have. Jimmy, I'm sure you have some comments too. This one is from Nandom Wiyap from Jos. It says, what are the health hazards of intensively selected livestock breeds? I believe that livestock development also focuses on ensuring the animals are in good health and physical condition before being slaughtered. Why are those responsible in our abattoirs not checking these animals before consumption any longer? Pesticides and other chemicals negatively affect pasture quality by damaging soil health and plant life, and they reduce milk and meat production by impairing livestock health and reproductive functions and accumulating as toxic residues in animal tissues and products. How best can we curtail this? Thank you for your service and enlightenment. Have a good morning and God bless Nigeria. Nandom Wiyap from Jos sent that. Another one here says, please let the minister do something about the abattoirs in FCT area councils. They are dilapidated and unhygienic to serve as slaughterhouses and mode of meat transportation.
Yes, I have. Let me respond to that before I read
thank
the
you.
rest.
Two things. I mean, the two comments here all can be merged into one about two operations. And I think this is where I've been talking about serious public health concerns. Number one, the standard operation procedure, normally no animal can be slaughtered without being first certified. The owner of that animal will have to come with the medical records of that animal to the last day. We have to assess the body condition score of that animal and make sure that that animal meets that standard specification for being processed for human consumption. Then the animal is brought to an abattoir that is approved that has certain regulations, that including biosecurity, including also the health status of everybody working in that abattoir. If you have communicable diseases, you cannot work in that abattoir. You have to have medical checkup at least twice in a year to make sure that you are free from any of those communicable diseases, because you are going to touch meat, and that's going to go far and wide into the country. After the slaughter of the animal, the meat will be inspected. Certain portions can be taken from the internal organs to the laboratory to make sure that it's free of tuberculosis, CBPP, anthrax, so many of those. But of course, if you come with the medical records, all these would have been admitted along the way. Now, this do not happen, and simply because we've had them before after independence, but somehow enforcement became a challenge. Now, with the ministry being created, we are working with the red meat industry. We want abattoirs to be in private hands because it will be much easier for them to enforce. This is what we are working on. In this city today, there is an abattoir that is coming up that is very gigantic, with a capacity of 1,000 bulls per day, a capacity including 3,000 small animals per day, and about 60 tons of poultry may be processed. It's coming up. And these are the kind of things we are working with, we are encouraging, and we are going to partner with them. Now, if you have an abattoir of this nature, and the abattoir is going to be certified, that certification is not only for local consumption. It will be certified also to be able to export meat outside the country. And that makes it, of course, very, very attractive for the operator of the abattoir to ensure that those standards are met. So the abattoir condition is not only in Abuja, it's not only in Jos or Sokoto or Bayelsa, it's all over the country. Where you have local slaughter slabs, you have these hygiene challenges. And this is where we are going to work with the state government to issue statements, to issue policies and legislation, just like the Deputy Governor of Borno is talking about. You need legislation and you need enforcement to be able to do that. Then people now can have confidence to say that the meat we are eating, the animal is healthy, the body condition score is probably acceptable, very high, the meat has been inspected and certified, because every portion of meat will have to be stamped and be taken to a grocery store or a supermarket. Now, if you buy it and you find there's something wrong, then there will be element of traceability back to the ranch or back to the feedlot where that animal have been managed and bred. So this is what happens internationally, and this is what we are working towards to establishing with the red meat industry. For the first time, we are going to talk about 3 abattoirs in the country as a test case, as a pilot. Then we begin to expand. But we are working with the private sector and the state government. You know, this legislation that the state government, the local government control, we want it to be driven by private sector because we believe ultimately that is that is best for the country. Now, how do you assess those animals? It's not every animal that comes to the slaughter, but today this is what you find. Animals have to be, you know, fattened in an area. Then this animal will have to be certified okay and now be brought to the large and the slaughterhouse. But what you have today is that animals leave the bush, they leave the market, looking haggard, sick, you know, into the abattoir. These are not certified. We know the challenges, but it's not something okay, look, you switch off the button and say tomorrow you can't do that. You run into crisis. It's a gradual process, holding conversation, changing the mindset, and then turning everything about the animal into a business. Once you turn into a business, it becomes sustainable. Then the man knows that these are the standards for me to operate. I have to work assiduously and meet those standards. Otherwise, I get out of the market. So that is the way to go. And we are holding conversations with everybody, including pastoral organizations. This is the way to go. This is the way to go, and that is the only way to go. Otherwise, you are out of the market. That is it. Well, what was the other one?
No. Okay, let me read the ones I have now. The Kashim Umar Bashir from Kano said, the RUCA model is one of the most effective approaches for livestock development as demonstrated by its long-standing practice on the Mambila Plateau. And he said, its success in the area is evident in the significantly reduced farmer-header conflicts, making it a worthy model of wider adoption. That's Kashim Umar Bashir from Kano. And Femi Olabanji from Ukorodu, Lagos said, I'm really impressed by the Honorable Minister of Livestock statement about resolution of the Maiden National Council of Livestock Development. He said his views are the government at all levels, especially the federal government, should make very effective implementation of banning of open grazing of cattle, goats, because the open grazing has caused great insecurities in Nigeria. 2, he said the ministry should reorient the herdsmen to adopt the modern ways of cattle rearing. They should not be carrying arms because it's against the law. 3, he said there should be compulsory education for herdsmen on all relevance field. That's Femi Olabanji from. And Ikeju Olabaju said livestock development should be a game changer. Government must encourage livestock value chain by supporting private sector to developing downstream enterprises. There's no waste in a standing cow killed. It is not about meat or milk products alone. The horn is not only used for ornamental, but we can set up button industries. Cow bones also yield collagen and is high demand, is in high demand.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. I think the reference to Mambila Plateau is Ruga. We need to understand exactly what is happening on the plateau. Yes, in the plateau, most people do ranching. Every major cattle owner, from 50 upwards, they have their land. This land is certificated, is known by the local authority, and they grow their pasture. Even the local people do that. That's what happens in Mambila. So, and that's the model we want to adopt. And that's what we have been preaching. Look, if you have animals, go and get land. There is no business without a premises. This land where NTA is certified to belong to NTA. Go to a hotel, they have a land. Primary schools, private schools, hospitals. So, livestock should also have land, a business premises. There's no two way about it. So we are encouraging them. And we're also talking to the state government. Those who want to access land, make the land available to them, then we will work with them to assist them in giving them pastures and building their capacity in growing pasture. We also use that opportunity of sedentarization to bring in genetic materials and improve the animal breed. We also do animal and disease management where they are. If animals are moving all over the place, they are spreading diseases all over. They are infecting. If you remember COVID, we talked about social distancing. It's more practicable in livestock. Once two has a mingling, the animal that came healthier will go back with infections because they are mingling. They shouldn't mingle. I have no business mingling my cattle with yours. We are not competing. Stay where you are. My animals stay where they are. I can go to you, you can come to me. Social visit, but not animals. This is what we are saying. So we are encouraging all our pastoralists, we are encouraging all our livestockers. Please talk to us. We will assist you to take to the state government. Where do you want to remain? We'll talk to those governments to make land available for you. Pay the dues, pay whatever is required for you to pay. Settle there. We will now assist you to develop your own ranch.
Every
That's what we're talking about.
Every business should have a business place,
yes,
a premises.
Yes,
fantastic. The deputy governor would get back to you shortly, but I'd like to stay with you because so far in this conversation, it looks like we'll be talking about livestock, relating to just cows basically and all. But can we talk about other sectors, other animals? That could also be a money spinner for us in this country. I mean, you want to talk about poultry, you want to talk about rabbitry, piggery, fishery, and all of that. What is the ministry doing, to enhance these sectors? And speak about poultry in particular. I hear people talk about rising cost of feed, and that's also pushing the prices of the products, the meat and all. What's the ministry doing?
Yeah, okay, I think the focus on the larger animals, like cow, for instance, like the cattle, is because most of the pains come from there, and they're more visible in the countryside. You don't see 2,000 goats, or you don't see 5,000 pigs. Okay, you probably see a swarm of bees all over the place, and that is it. For poultry, it's the most successful today in the livestock sector, because over the years they have been able to transit, into modern, highly mechanized, and very, very profitable ventures in the poultry industry, and they have also employed a large number of people, young people, men and women, backyard, blah blah. This all had happened, But in the last in the recent past, there have been challenges in the cost of feed. If you remember, grains in the last 2-3 years, skyrocketed beyond the reach of even ordinary people. But of course, the prices of grains have come down by all standards. And then there are issues now of the scarcity of hatcheries in the country. If you look at our population, for instance, how many hatcheries do we have in the country? And what is their combined capacity? They are not in the position to supply the required day-old chicks. They are not. And we are looking at that. In fact, we are talking to the private sector to see how we can get other people to set up more hatcheries. It's a demand and supply mechanism. So when there are fewer hatcheries, then so many people are lined up to pick up the old chicks, then of course the prices will go up. But we do know that cost of energy has not changed, cost of medicaments, so many others have not changed. So this is what we are looking at, and we're going to address it. We're also going to talk to the Poultry Association of Nigeria to look at how do we now talk to the feed millers to also bring down their price. Now we know that cost of grains is very low. But of course, the answer to that, according to what I have had conversation with one of them, was that the grains they are using now were bought some years back and stocked at a higher price. So now that the prices of grain have crashed, they are not going to the market to buy those ones. They are still using the one they bought at a higher rate. Of course, these are one or two things here and there, but basically we're holding a conversation, and we do believe that at the end of the day, we'll find a balanced position to be able, to bring down the prices of feed and the prices of day-old chicks, so that people can now get back and pick up their businesses. We know that's a very big challenge. And it is actually, again, one of the most popular source of protein, poultry. We are also going to encourage free range. At the moment, we do know that there are 3 distinct breeds in the country. The Funab breeds by Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, there is the Noila, and then the Shika Brown. These are dual-purpose birds that have been genetically produced in this country. They can do in the rural areas. They are very hardy, disease resistant. They can run all over the place. And we are going to popularize these 3 breeds and get a lot of women cooperatives to start running with them on a free range basis, because you get both eggs and meat. This is what we are looking at. For us, that is one way of also addressing that challenge we are looking at. Of course, there are other programs that we are now also conceiving. But of course, when they see the daylight, we'll come here and share on those ones. But of course, they are going to be a game changer in the country. Other animals that we have spoken about, we have not neglected them. I have just come back from Enugu State. I visited Opuje, pig progeny. It was built in 1982 by the Shagari regime. 43 years down the line, that place has been fallow. It has a capacity for 3,000 sows. It's sitting on 26 hectares of land, and we are talking with somebody so that we can run a PPP. Because that place, if you have 3,000 sows, that's the female pig, and they're farrowing means that they give birth to 15 to 16, 20 small piglets. You can imagine the amount of pigs you're going to have in a year. And that is a region that we believe once you have this facility back on its feet, and we are working assiduously to make sure that it comes back on its feet. We also have another one in Benue State, in Yande, belonging to the Benue State government. We have had discussions with them. We are also trying to see how we can work with them to make sure that that piggery is also back to life. We are also speaking with the Plateau State government at the back farm. There's also a piggery there. We are also looking at the piggery in Kachia local government in Kaduna State. So we are addressing all these pockets of this. And let me tell you, there are about 30 livestock facilities across this country built over 40 years ago. Many of them are moribund. I have the statistics. We have done an inventory, and we are going to visit one after the other and get people to work with us under a PPP arrangement to bring them back to life. What for? 1, food availability, source of employment. And that is the way to go. They were conceived many years ago. Milk collection centers, ndama cattle breeding, piggery, poultry, goat multiplication, so many of these things. They're all over the country. And when Mr. President said that no more neglect of the livestock sector, I agree 100% with him. Because over the years we have neglected this sector. And all these facilities have been there. Those who know them, those who are with us today, they know where they are. The Opuje I have visited was built in 1982. The Adada cattle multiplication center still in Urugu State, that I visited, 846 hectares of land, with Adada River passing through that sector, through that land. It's been fallow for many decades. We are looking for investors all over the country to come and work with us so that we revive these centers for food security, for job and wealth creation. That is the way to go. And that's why we said that our partnership, our synergy and collaboration with the state government is very, very important. We are not taking it lightly. Those assets are there. They belong to us, but they are resident there. We want to work with them to make sure that they are revived. I mean, it's sad. Look at the Adada Dam. 3.1 million cubic meters of water in Adada. It's fallow. Nobody is using it for anything. It's supposed to be meant for irrigation. Irrigate what? The Adada Cattle Multiplication Center. Because that channel runs through that center. So this is what we are talking about. The resources are there, but the question now is just focusing on them. Now that the ministry has come, we are going to work with state governments, we are going to work with the private sector to make sure that we revive and bring to proper fruition all these facilities that are all over the country. That's what we're talking about. We are not going to create new ones until, of course, all these 30 are back on their feet and are working and there are still gaps. Then we can build others. That is the way to go.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We'll take a break now. When we come back, the conversation continues. Stay with us.
The Renewed Hope Initiative RHI presents the RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow. This national competition is in 3 categories. The household category is a tree planting competition amongst 11 frontline states in northern Nigeria. Each participating household in Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara states will plant a minimum of 1 tree to qualify, with a video evidence of before and after the tree planting exercise. 20 million naira will be awarded to the best household. Submission deadline is 20th December 2026. Community category will see local governments, local communities, schools, and NGOs reclaim and transform degraded or abandoned areas such as dump sites, landfills, parks, and their likes into green, vibrant gardens, parks, and eco-friendly spaces. 50 million naira would be awarded to the overall best community group. Deadline for submission is 15th July 2026. State category will have all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, excluding Enugu State, have a chance to address the growing threats to environmental sustainability and cleanliness. States will be judged based on the number of trees planted on major roads and inner streets and how clean they are. 100 million naira will be awarded to the best performing state. Already, Enugu State has 100 million naira for being RHI's model green state due to its greenery and cleanliness. Video evidence must be submitted by participating states on or before 20th December 2026. All entries must be directed to RHI Office, State House, Abuja, or email rhi.greenchallenge@statehouse.gov.ng. RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow.
You have no better friend and partner than Nigeria. Let this unveiling today be a call to conscience. Let our practitioners hold the line of truth. To the media, please inform with integrity and with a deep sense of patriotism. To our public officers, communicate with transparency. To citizens, please let us speak with empathy. Let us come together to become the voice of responsibility, the voice of the world that heals division, that inspires hope and drives development.
You're welcome back, and you're still watching Good Morning Nigeria. We still have some messages that came in from our viewers. Let me take some of them. Said Edore Osemu Diemen from Edo State, Epoma said, "Good morning, Nigeria. Please, this is my question. What is the plan of the ministry or plans of the minister to integrate persons in local rural areas into livestock practices? A lot of persons in local government areas have a registered corporation in livestock, but they do not have supportive framework to enhance their businesses or to practice it professionally." And Ron Peters from Edo State said, "How will you tackle crop waste bagged with rags, needles, etc.? Most farmers pack koa area with impurity content. How will you carry out training programs across board?" And another one said, "Honorable Minister, most of our people cannot afford buying land, so many don't even have the animals. A lot need to be done, sir." Another one said, "Please let the ministry ban the use of tires to burn the slaughtered animals before butchering." So before you respond to that, let's bring in the Deputy Governor of Borno State, because you have a ranch and you've listened to some of these questions that have come. Can you respond to some of them? Because I know a lot of people want to go into ranching, especially in the Maiduguri area, especially in southern Borno. So how supportive is the state government going to be to them? Because one of them said, and also at the abattoir, he has said that they should ban the use of tires to burn the slaughtered animals before butchering. I'm sure that does not happen in Borno, but tell us in your own opinion, because they say the council is supposed to have an annual meeting every year, so they'll be receiving progress report from states like Borno, who have successfully implemented the Ruga ranching there. So what kind of review will you be reviewing by this time next year when we talk about it?
Yeah, let me talk on the issue of the abattoir. As the minister earlier mentioned, we have SOPs on the operations of the abattoir, and we are yet to be there, because I believe personally we have to make some improvement, and if it is PPP-driven approach, with the standards will be strictly adhered to. And also we can have opportunity of exports. And if you look at the SOPs I'm talking about, this burning of tires and all these things are things that needs to be imbibed, in the enforcement of management of abattoirs and all slaughterhouses in the country. So what we need to do now is we have to improve on the existing facilities that we have, which we are working tirelessly to make sure that, yes, these facilities have the needed improvement. Well, like now in Borno State, we're building a new abattoir. We're making some improvement also in the slaughter areas. If you don't hygienically, make these products, hygienically tested, I don't think they will. There's anybody who will come into Nigeria and say he wants to buy our meat. So what we need to do now is we improve on the facilities that we have. I'm happy the minister made mention of the poultry production, which I have wanted to make some comments on that too. Like in Borno State, if you look at the whole northeast, we don't have a hatchery. But since the inception of this administration under Professor Babagana Umar Zulum and the establishment of the Ministry of Livestock as the commissioner, now we have established a 120,000 capacity of a hatchery for poultry. The most important thing is now we have the hatchery in the northeast, and I believe with that capacity we can be able to supply the whole northern part of the country. We don't need to go to Enugu or Lagos to bring in day-old chicks, but we have to work on the parent stock, which now presently we're housing over 20,000 different species. We have the Noelas, we have the broilers, and also we have the layers, which by March they will start laying eggs. Then, and that capacity of a hatchery that can be, housing over 120,000 eggs. It's not a small hatchery. You must have parent stocks that can give you the eggs that you can feed this hatchery. We've worked now, and by March we'll start having our eggs from the parent stock. Then we'll start hatching in Maiduguri. But also, it has to be a PPP-driven approach because it's not sustainable by government cannot sustain this hatchery. So as the minister is saying, we have to put in place, policies and, some attractive, attractive environment for investors to come in and invest so that they can take over this hatchery. Also, if you look at it, when I came in as a commissioner too, we've worked on the issue of our hatchery for fisheries. Now we have a capacity of almost 500,000 fishing hatchery, which it was not working before, but now we're in our second trench. We have did our first hatching, which we tested, and the success is like 60–70%, but the second one now is about 82%. And I'm happy now we'll be selling fingerlings for farmers within the northeastern Nigeria. So as I said, inshallah, in 2026, we're going to see a lot of transformation. We'll bring in a lot of JC cows, and JC cows can produce like from 30 to 40 liters of milk if they are well fed. So now in our milk dairy plant also, we have JC cows that were brought in, and they are doing well. We've inseminated them, and the conception, rate is around 75 to 80%. So that's a very good progress recorded. And these things are process that needs to slowly, be achieved. We cannot just do it within the short period of it. Takes time. It has a gestation period. So now we are putting in places all the required, inputs that need to be put in place so that the agricultural sector, especially the livestock production, should come up from the northern part of the country. And there are a lot of challenges, but inshallah, with what we are doing now, in the next year, first quarter of next year, we will start having results, especially from the Ruga. Now we have a lot of calves from the 100 heifers that we have launched. My Honorable Minister, I want to tell you that already we have almost about 37 cows that are, have been delivered from our crossbreed F1s that we have. So these are successes that we've started recording, but it has to take a gradual process. And I think Nigeria has to be patient, but inshallah we'll achieve it.
Deputy Governor, from all that you have said, I mean, fishery, poultry, the cattle, Jimmy, I'm considering maybe Borno should be my destination for Christmas, fantastic, honestly, Deputy Governor. And there's a question here, particularly for you. This one says, good morning, Nigeria. This is Dr. Abdul Wahab Mala from Borno. I want to use this medium to specifically appreciate your highly intellectual Deputy Governor for the role he played in making sure the livestock industry not only domesticated but thrives way more efficiently than other MDAs. But I want to hear from His Excellency on how best to work with the private enterprise to lower the cost of buying and selling animals, especially during festive periods.
Okay, there's another one too before he responds to it. Mohammed Musa from Maiduguri said, well done to Borno State Deputy Governor for the cattle ranch in Mafa. But have you started milking? More so, is it only the cattle in the ranch or there are other animals? We'll respond to that, so we'll come to the minister.
Thank you, Mohammed. In the Mafa Ruga settlement, we have cows and goats. As I mentioned earlier, you have to inseminate. We are trying to improve on our breeds and gene. So what we did, after we distributed the cows as livestock starter packs to the families that were, in the Ruga, we did insemination services. We provided insemination services, and also we housed over 100 cows there belonging to the Ministry of Livestock. We inseminated them, and as I said earlier, they have a gestation period. Cows normally takes up to 9 months. So these are things that the results, you cannot see them as immediate results. But the important thing is we have started somewhere, and we have started seeing results. If you are patient with us, inshallah, by the time we unveil 2026 plan and what we have achieved so far, you will appreciate what we are doing. Thank you, Mohammed.
Deputy Governor, I'll just read some more questions that we have here. Some are targeted, or if you like, channeled to the minister. This one says, good morning to the distinguished discussants. I wish to let the Honorable Minister know that the era of grazing reserve and cattle route is no longer fashionable due to existing Land Use Act that has placed ownership of the land in the hands of state governors as trustees. Most people resist the setting up of Ruga settlement for obvious reasons. It is seen as a ploy to acquire land for the Fulani header. My suggestion is for your ministry to initiate indigenous youths to go into livestock farming. They can be trained on mixed crop livestock farming. Honorable Minister, sir, we have a place at Warake, Onwa East local government area, that can be used for a prototype cluster of young dairy cattle farmers. I will send you a copy of my proposal and my relevant research publications for your perusal, please. The creation of the Ministry of Livestock Development is a remarkable achievement of Mr. President. This is from Chief Hudu Osei, the Guruza of Wake Kingdom. Another one here says, I want to commend Borno State Government for establishing Ruga settlement in Mafa and advise for expanding the program across the state. So says, good morning, Nigerians. Well done, NTA. Many thanks for the topic of discussion today. Like always, there is urgent need for the entire livestock ecosystem to be sanitized by all the 3 tiers of government in the country. The momentum of the federal government's initiative to drive the sector must be sustained by the states and local governments. Kudos, Honorable Minister. That's from Kayode Busari in Lagos. This one says, speakers, are you aware there's scarcity of chicks parent stock in the country? That's Ayo Dara, trying to inform you, Honorable Minister. This one says, congratulations to the ministry for opening more veterinary hospitals across the zone. What is the ministry doing to have sufficient staff to man the hospitals, especially in recruiting veterinary assistants and other allied staff?
Thank you. A lot of issues there, but let me take the issue of supposedly land grabbing for people who want to do Ruga or whatever. And I think let's get less emotional about these things. Livestock is about business. There is no law that says that only particular people can do livestock. No law. As far as I know, the Constitution, penal, everything in this country, you choose your business. If you run your numbers, you make profit, you go to do it. Yes, certain trades are being identified with certain people, but there's no barrier. There's no barrier. And let me say this, without any, with all sense of humility. I've been in the cattle business since 2005, formally. I have bred hundreds of improved breeds, both dairy and beef, Jersey, Frisian, what do you call it, Brahman, etc., etc. The largest number of my customers are from the southern part of this country, and they are not Fulani. They are not. We know what is happening. If you are into that industry, you know what I'm talking about. The cow, the livestock, the goat, the pig, the honeybee is about business. If you can make money, go in there and we'll work with you to assist you realize your vision. We are proposing, we are advocating that those who have animals should look for land anywhere in this country. And let us agree on the minimum. Livestock business today in the country is a legitimate business. And by the constitution of this country, you can set up your business anywhere within Nigerian borders. You can go to anywhere and apply for land. Once your application scales through, the governor will give you a certificate of occupation for the purpose for which you have applied. If it means you want to do ranch, you can do ranching anywhere. That's what we're advocating. That's why we are saying that we should relax the law and say, look, people can now get land and do business. When I applied for land in Kaduna State, the friendly government and people of Kaduna State gave me land to do my ranch. I've been certificated, I've been growing my grasses, 110 hectares of land, and I've been doing my ranching. The same thing like anybody who can apply for primary school, for veterinary clinic, or for a studio. It's the same thing. No difference about it. Anybody can do cattle business. We just ran the numbers about blood in an abattoir. The governor has been talking about Jersey. If today you have one Jersey cow that gives you 30 liters per day, assume that each liter is 1,500 naira, times 30. You can make that Jersey cow for 270 days. Run the numbers and tell me. Anybody can do that business. This is what we are saying. You can do piggery. You can do sheep and goat. Somebody is talking about the cost of animals during the festive period. It's driven by scarcity. We don't see the little goat like it has any economic value. You just drive it out in the house, go to the rubbish heap, go to the street, eat nylon, eat this, and come back. How can you that animal give you be productive? And the person who asked question about rural people are building capacity, we are coming to that. And that's the beauty of having ministries of livestock in the states. We'll work with them to design a TVET program so that people who want to go into livestock will go in with sufficient knowledge of the industry. You are going to run it as a business. You are going to run it as a business. This is what we're talking about. The era of anybody having a stick and then leading animals into the bush, it's not a business, it's cultural. It's cultural. And that's what we are trying to educate people to say that, look, come, let's sit down, let me teach you how to do this business. You have been born in this thing. Nobody was born with a business sense. We all acquire it. Just like you go to school, you can also go to school and learn about these things. When I started going into apiary, I read books. It didn't just add up. I had to call somebody who was certified as an apiarist to come to my farm and lectured me, and we started building hives. Today I have more than 50 hives. Each hive is colonized by about 60,000 bees. I'm making honey. That is business. When people see a swarm of bees, they just put shelters or fire. They see this is danger. This is money you are driving. A liter of organic honey today is about 25,000 naira, if it is purely organic. We are going to come up with a program to grab the youth in this country, to teach them to choose where they want to be. So the whole idea today is that, look, let's be less sentimental about these things. Let's be less sentimental about these things. So the whole idea, look at that animal as a business unit. Then we will work with you to make you realize your ambition, your business goals out of that animal. Okay. Whether it's sheep, goat, rabbit, honeybee, pasture cultivation, feed additive, and somebody mentioned about a lot of impurities in the animal feed. Yes. We know that. We know that. Needles and rats. Yeah, I'll say so many things. I've seen metal, I've seen cigarette butts, I've seen so many things inside there. So what we are doing, we have started to cluster them, because we know most of these feed come from where? We talk about Zamfara, Katsina, we talk about Kano, we talk about Jigawa and Borno State. We are clustering all these feed sellers. We are clustering them. We actually started in Kano. We identify them and cluster them and then give them the standards on how to do it. And beyond just selling farm residue, etc., we teach you how to compound it, make additives, and then pelletize it or make it in form of blocks. Package it and brand it. And then you put your telephone number.
In 30 seconds, Dr. Emeka Akamiki said, what have you done about steady power supply?
Steady power supply?
Yes. Dr.
That's for the Minister of Power.
Akamiki.
Exactly. That's for the Minister of Power.
He's asking that question. Okay, let's quickly go to Maiduguri, where His Excellency Murkadafu is seated. In 1 minute, tell us, what your parting shots and what you intend, to improve on the already established, Ruga system in Borno State, and what is the way forward for Borno State there?
Thank you, Jumai. The way forward is we have to start looking inward as a nation to, beef up the production of livestock and in Nigeria. My sister was saying that there's somebody asked a question that the scarcity of birds, chicken, and the poultry. When we set up the hatchery in Maiduguri, it took me 6 months to receive 6,000 parent stock from a hatchery in Ibadan. 6 good months. I was on the waiting list. And also, these are things that we've been talking about. We have to come up together. We cannot be sentimental on what we are doing. We have to work together as Nigerians. We have to make sure we support the whole sector, not even on the agriculture. We have to support ourselves to make sure that, yes, we build this nation together. The Honorable Minister is there. He's doing a very good job. He's supporting the subnationals. And also, I want the Honorable Minister also to pay attention also to one thing. The issue of public-private partnership, sir. We have to work seriously to make sure, even if it means bringing people from outside Nigeria to participate in the, boosting the agricultural status of Nigeria, we have to do that. So basically now, sir, the ball is in your court. You have to work and see how best we can make an attractive, we can make our, our livestock business attractive to foreigners to come into Nigeria and participate. That is my
Thank you so much. Borno State Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur. He's the Chairman, Livestock Development Committee, and also the Commissioner of the Ministry of Livestock. Thank you so much for your input into this conversation. We deeply appreciate you. And also, Honorable Minister, thank you so much for coming. He's Idi Mukhtar Meha, Honorable Minister of Livestock Development, and he has, enlightened us on the, first National Council on Livestock, and I believe going forward there will be so much more to, benefit from that. We appreciate you as always.
Thank you.
And that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. Thanks so much for watching. On behalf of the production crew, I am Juma Yusuf.
I'm Ray John. Live locked on the NTA. More great programs ahead. Stay with us.